Have you ever read a play that makes you laugh at quantum physics one minute and then cry over some forgotten historical detail the next? Well, that's what we're diving into today, the absolutely brilliant mind of the one and only Tom Stoppard.
And that quote, it just nails it, doesn't it? Stoppard, you see, isn't just a writer. He's more like an architect of ideas, building these incredible plays that are super smart, but also just really, really entertaining. So, what's his secret? Come on, let's break it down.
Okay, so first things first. To really get into his work, you kind of have to get to know the man himself. So who exactly is Tom Stoppard?
Well, his story starts in Czechoslovakia, where he was born back in 1937. His family had to flee the Nazis, and he eventually ended up in Britain. And it was there in the 1960s that his voice just exploded onto the London stage. Seriously, he completely changed the game for what a play could even be.
In the play that really launched him into the stratosphere, it was such a bold move. I mean, think about it. He took one of the most famous stories ever told and decided, you know what? I'm going to tell it from the point of view of two guys who are barely even in the original.
And that's the whole genius premise of his 1966 breakthrough, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. Forget the prince. Stoppard puts us right in the shoes of these two, well, confused nobodies. They're just waiting in the wings for their cues, desperately trying to figure out what's going on in this huge story that's happening just out of sight.
I mean, look at the difference here. Shakespeare's Hamlet, that's this epic tragedy about power and revenge, right? Stoppard just flips that completely on its head. He gives us this philosophical comedy about two regular guys trying to grasp their tiny role in a massive, uncontrollable story. That shift in focus, that is pure 100% Stoppard.
And inside that simple idea, he just packs in all these enormous concepts. The characters get into these long conversations that are somehow hilarious and heartbreaking at the same time, talking about everything from probability and death to their own lack of free will. It's wild. They're basically characters in a play who start to suspect they're, well, characters in a play. It totally blurs the line between what's performance and what's real.
Okay, but Stoppard's intellectual curiosity didn't just stop with philosophy and theater. Oh no. In his next masterpiece, a play called Arcadia, he weaves this even more intricate web. This time, he's mixing science, history, and romance.
So if Rosencrantz and Guildenstern was all about wrestling with fate, Arcadia is all about tackling the very nature of truth itself. And it is a breathtaking play. It's kind of like part detective story, part romance, and part a totally mind-bending lesson on chaos theory. Yeah, all in one. The real genius of this play is its structure. You've got the action flipping back and forth between two different time periods, but it's all happening in the same English country house. So in the past, you have this brilliant teenage girl who is basically discovering chaos theory way ahead of her time. And then in the present, you have these two modern-day academics who are just desperately trying to piece together what really happened all those years ago.
And by doing this, Stoppard gets to ask these huge, profound questions, like how can we ever truly know the past? What's the real difference between cold, hard scientific proof and, poetic truth? And as these two timelines start to echo each other, he kind of suggests that the heat of human passion is a force just as real and undeniable as the laws of physics. It's incredible.
So, he tackles scientific and historical truth in Arcadia. What's next? Well, Stoppard then turns that same laser-like intellect to something a bit more personal, but trust me, no less complicated: the truth of love.
And that brings us to the core question of his 1982 play, The Real Thing. How do you know if love is, well, the real thing, or if it's just a performance? It's a question that's super intellectual, but also, who can't relate to that? In a world full of performance and clever words, how can you ever be sure an emotion is genuine?
So to dig into this, Stoppard uses a really cool, classic theatrical trick: the play within a play. The main character, Henry, is a playwright, and he's written a play about a failing marriage. And then what happens? Of course, his own marriage starts to fall apart in an almost identical way. Suddenly, the lines between what's real and what's fiction get super blurry, and it forces everyone, including us in the audience, to question what's genuine and what's not.
Okay, so we've only looked at a few of his plays, but you can already start to see a pattern emerging, right? Let's zoom out a bit and really look at the signature style that makes his contribution to drama so huge.
This right here, this is the Stoppardian DNA.
His scripts are legendary for their linguistic fireworks. We're talking puns, incredible wit, just beautiful language. But what's amazing is that underneath all that sparkle, you've got these intricate clockwork plots that are wrestling with the biggest questions of existence. And, somehow, they're also laugh-out-loud funny. It's a combination that almost no one has ever mastered so perfectly.
And get this, his talent isn't just for the stage. He brought that exact same wit and intelligence to the big screen. You've probably heard of a little movie called Shakespeare in Love? Yeah, he co-wrote that screenplay and won an Oscar for it. And it has all his classic hallmarks. It's clever, it's got a lot of heart, and it's built on a deep, deep love for language.
So, from his big breakout in the 60s all the way to his more recent, really personal play, Leopoldstadt, Tom Stoppard has never stopped pushing audiences. His plays aren't just entertainment, they're an invitation to think, to question, and honestly, just to marvel at the complex, beautiful, and often absurd patterns of our world.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final very Stoppardian question for you. His plays are always making us think about the roles we're playing and the stories we find ourselves in. So as you go about the rest of your day, maybe ask yourself this: in the grand play of your own life, are you the star, a side character, or are you maybe the one writing the script?